Hello, welcome everyone. Um, I'm Clyde. I'll be your host tonight on behalf of Product People. Welcome to our pretty regular Tuesday evening meetup, let's say. So Product People is a German-based consultancy, product consultancy, and we try to help companies efficiently and effectively develop great products. How do we do that? We first, we are generally our biggest assignment or sets of assignments that we're on right now are as interim product managers. So we temporarily fill a need in client organizations for a specific amount of time. We can also do product profitability turnarounds. So helping clients obtain, yeah, higher product profitability through offering advisory services. And finally, we do remote product management trainings because we love to share our knowledge in the field. So if anyone, if you or anyone you know might be interested in, yeah, engaging us, engaging our services, please let us know. We're always happy to help. So yeah, today I'd like to introduce Arthur, who's going to be speaking with us about no-code tools. Arthur is a product leader based in Berlin, although he's currently in South Africa. And he's been a product leader for the past 5 years, originally from Tel Aviv, where he started as a certified lawyer and then moved into product after his internship. Since then, he's worked in startups such as ResearchGate, Wundertax, and Contest, and is currently a freelancer and no-code evangelist, pushing for changes so that no non-technical folks can feel confident building products using no-code tools. So without further ado, Arthur, if you would like to go ahead, and the stage is yours.
You see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. So thank you, Clyde, for the intro. And hi, guys. Welcome to today's talk. Today, I will be talking about driving your first users with no code. And thanks again, Marila, for inviting me. So the pandemic pushed many people to open up, to experiment new things, and especially enabled builders to follow their passion, launching new products. Same for me. During the last year, I've experimented and built a few no-code products, and today I will share the process and stack I use to win my first customers. I won't be focusing, however, on how to run traditional product discovery. So a bit about myself, and Clyde already mentioned some of these points. 5 years ago, I moved from Tel Aviv to Berlin. I'm also a lawyer in my background and transitioned to product 5 years ago. And since then, worked in several companies such as Contest, Wundertax, and also ResearchGate, mostly focusing on fintech startups. And as a product manager coming from a business background, I always wished I had the ability to build stuff, to be more independent. And this wasn't me shying away from working with the engineering team, but rather the other way around. I wanted to empower them to work on the core stuff, things that require their unique, special coding experiences. So from my experience during the last year, I can definitely tell you that no code holds big promise for product managers, but not only. This talk is also for those who have an idea and want to validate it by putting it in front of real people and test demand. It can either be for non-technical PMs, for marketing managers, entrepreneurs, and even engineers that are able to distinguish between cases where a lean no-code solution is sufficient. My goal is that by the end of this talk, you would have the knowledge and tools to set up a highly engaging landing page to get your first users. So a word about why many are so bullish with regards to no-code. I highly relate to this quote by Naval Ravikant, which was AngelList CEO and accredited angel investor. And he says, the compound interest from many quick small iterations is greater than the compound interest from a few slow big iterations. This is exactly what no-code is about. Running quick experiments, tracking what breaks and what works well, and doubling down once we find a promising direction. So one thing I often hear from friends and colleagues as a reason for not shipping a product is that they have a solid idea, but they lack a technical co-founder or the money to pay a developer to build it. These are mostly excuses, in my opinion. Today's no-code tools help us make actionable or make action independently in a faster and a much cheaper manner. So this in turn allows us to iterate and ship more frequently, getting a product market fit with less resources. You will be surprised to learn how many things you could build using only no code, from web and mobile apps, registration forms, onboarding tutorials, and the list goes on. And a recent research, by the way, by Gartner went as far as saying that 65% of all app development will be done by no code by 2025. I think it's exaggerating a bit, but the idea is that no code is really expanding. There are a few use cases no code is ideal for. First is to test traction for a new feature, usually relevant from the product discovery phase. For example, if you are a PM at Airbnb and you want to test if hosts would be interested in the superhost offering, you could set up a landing page and see how many convert. The second one is when it's not part of your core product offering, so suitable for growth initiatives, marketing landing pages, etc. For example, at my previous role, we wanted to build a chatbot to help customers to understand which expense is tax deductible and which one is not. So for that, we could use tools like Landbot. The third one is everything which is internal facing. So for example, let's say you are a PM at Uber and your operation team need to validate a driving driver license. Instead of doing it in a spreadsheet, you could build an internal interface using Retool. With that in mind, a quick recap of what we have covered. We explained what are the benefits of a no-code tool. We also talked about what are the use cases that lend themselves for no-code tools. Now, let's go forward and discuss actual tools and my best practices. This list holds the different steps into building and converting landing pages. I'm going to share the best tools to achieve each one of these. So best tools to build your landing page, to choose your color palettes, to choose your logo, to have icons, illustration and animations, to know how to generate great copy, to form terms and conditions, talk about integrations, and finish up with database capture. And don't worry, you don't need to memorize the names. I will share a summary of my recommended tools at the end of this talk. So let's dive right in. There's a variety of tools to choose from. Here's some options I found most useful. When it comes to landing pages, we have Doric, Umzo, Unicorn Platform. When it comes to marketing or CMS focused, Unstuck is a great tool. When it comes to personal profile, Card is an easy way. Or if you are looking to build a more complex web apps, Bubble and Webflow are leading this category. But please note that this will require some learning from your side. I personally am a big fan of Umzo, which is also a good time to state that I will use this OK signifier throughout my conversation to just signify what I recommend. Umzo has some nice features worth mentioning. It has a great onboarding feature allowing you to generate a unique website just under 1 minute. It also offers out-of-the-box analytics, embedded forms, and even email capturing, which for that, you don't need having a third-party solution and integrations, which is very, very convenient. For those who like Google Analytics or are looking for more advanced options, Umzo offers a simple integration. So let me show you how it works. Here you could see we could generate a landing page, choose which website we need. I chose the idea validation, a web app as a product. It immediately generates a layout in a live formation you can see on the right. Just choose your art direction and then followed by fonts and colors. Everything, of course, is visualized on the right side as we go. Then finally, just choose the content components for your website, which is features, pricing, tutorials, contact, whatever you need. And voila, in just under 1 minute, you have already editable, ready landing page. You just need to modify it a few steps. For those who are familiar with CSS or JavaScript, UMZO also had a code component, allowing you to fine-tune and design experience to your needs. Here, for example, is a simple script to scroll to a specific element when someone clicks the Get Early Access button. I would assume most of us today are coming from non-technical background, so I will definitely recommend learning CSS or JavaScript or both, as those two basic languages can get you really far. There are existing and very well executed landing pages already, so you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, reuse. This is also a tip I share with other PMs regardless of no code. And WebFrame and SaaS pages are a great place to start. I have a slight preference to WebFrame. So both of these tools launched in 2019, and they enable you to search by use case, such login, pricing, referrals, etc. Whereas WebFrame also gives you a nice feature where it's searching per company like Intercom, Asana, Typeform, which is nice if you relate to some specific company design language. Colors. Many builders and even companies get this one wrong. They underestimate the importance of a color harmony. It's been proven that color would make your website convert better. And colors.co is an amazing free tool. It also offers a cool feature of how color is perceived by colorblind people, which is a very nice product touch, in my opinion. You can just go there and explore trending palettes or just click around until you find something you like. Here's a glimpse on how it looks. You can click the spacebar to get inspired. You can save your favorite colors for later, or you just can copy them for your landing page. And there are other things to discover. Sometimes you'd like to sample a specific color or a font, and Chrome's Inspect comes super handy. So for those who don't know Inspect, you can right-click any component on a web page and click Inspect to see its attributes, including color. So except for copying colors and elements, you can also alter pages components. For product people, it's also a great way to showcase your idea and design to the design and tech team by customizing areas within your product or in your website. And there are other cool stuff that you can also do with Inspect. Congratulations, Carla. So by now, we have a landing page with the right color scheme, but how about a logo? And Luca and Namecheap are the ones I enjoy using, with a slight preference towards Namecheap. It's straightforward. It's a very straightforward process of just choosing a font style, having a logo, and applying your color scheme to it. I'm still amazed by the fact that they're still free and they don't even require any email registration from the user side. Next, when it comes to icons, UMZO and also other tools might not have enough variety. In this case, you could consider libraries such as Flat Icon, the Noun Project, and Orion, which is my favorite. These sources are great for those who are looking for customized icons on their landing pages, but also in other web apps that you might be building. Orion actually offers more than 6,000 custom crafted vectors icons you can just download for free. Illustrations also became a standard in many successful B2C and B2B companies. If you are looking to boost your landing page by adding illustrations, these two are my favorite. Dribble on the one hand is a great option. It showcases illustration made by talented designers. Be aware though that you will need to ask for permission and give credit if you use their illustrations. I normally default to Undraw, which offers free download of SVG and PNG files. A nice thing about Undraw is that they allow you to customize illustrations color according to your landing page color palette. This comes in handy, especially when you offer a unique or somehow out-of-the-box color blend. But if that's too static for you or for the user experience that you're looking for, Lodify files is a great source to find animations. So their animations are 100 times smaller when compared to GIFs, which in turn should not slow your website down. A very important component when you speak about user experience. Also, they enable full customizations of their animation. So now not only does it turn your static landing page to a dynamic one, but it also adds a little bit of that surprising joy factor users love. Here you can see an example of this week's most popular animations. Pretty cool. Now, assuming that you could not find your image in any of the free sites, this is where Remove BG comes in and is truly a lifesaver. Normally, removing backgrounds or turning an image to a transparent version is always have been a complicated, time-consuming task. Most of the time, reserved to graphic designers or manual labor. And that's why Remove BG just instantly do it for you. I've often used it when I'm planning features and running marketing campaigns, but lately also used it quite often for my private initiatives. So you should check it out. Eventually, most of the time, making people to sign up comes down to highly engaging and to the point copy. Copy, for those who are not familiar with this phrase, is a text you put in your landing page, and Copy AI is a great way to do that. So we all spend a significant amount of time perfecting our copy to increase conversion and engagement. And Copy AI is a GPT-3 powered tool which allows you to enter a one-line product description and get in return a highly curated copy. Here you can see I've used Deepen, which is personal CRM, and it's built to empower entrepreneurs to cultivate strong connections, and as a result, build successful companies. This one is a real generated example. Most business connections are fleeting. At best, you know someone. At worst, you end up knowing everyone, but never really knowing anyone. Deepen was designed to help you cultivate a small number of long-lasting business relationships. When you think about it, the result you see here is quite mind-blowing, given the fact that it's generated by AI with only one-line description. So once you get to the exciting event of someone leaving an email, you want to reply as fast as possible. You can do it by having a Zapier integration with MailChimp and automate the reply. Don't let them wait. And an advice here, you can add Typeform or a Google form questionnaire to your automatic reply if your product requires any additional information to check if they're actually a fit between your user's pain and what you are offering. In return, this will allow you to spend the time only onboarding the right customers, affecting their satisfaction down the line. Keep that in mind. When you'd like to capture form submissions or saving more complicated states in your web app, you should use a database solution. Airtable is my favorite. So integrations are key when it comes to building no-code products, and it's still the default third-party database tool within the no-code ecosystem. But of course, there are others. Here you can see an example we have used for Deepen, a shortened version. With Airtable, it's very, very convenient. Last but not least, you would like to be taken seriously or prevent users from thinking your landing page is a scam. So don't forget to add a privacy page and a terms and condition section. IU Benda is quite good. They have very fair pricing and they offer more advanced add-ons, including a full GDPR compliance. Alternatively, you always have the option to look for a singular product and then modify their privacy in terms of conditions. But be aware, this will require quite a lot of your time. So that's it. We've covered all of these points, and by now you should have a solid understanding and the tools in your arsenal to build great landing pages to drive your first customers. To make it easier to apply today's learnings, I've aggregated my favorite tools in this one slide. So this is the time to take a screenshot for those who are interested to follow these trends. In the meantime, I'll briefly remind the purpose of each one of these tools. We had Umzo for creating a quick landing page, using WebFrame for inspiration, using colors to choose the right color scheme. We're having Namecheap in order to create a logo, and Orion if you're looking for more customizable icons. We have Undraw to get illustrations right. And if you want more animations, we default to Lottie files. If we need something more customizable, we use Remove BG. For generating great copy, use Copy AI. And for automating the reply, we can use Mailchimp and Zapier integration, so our users won't be waiting. If you need or in need of a database for capturing any information from your landing page, you can use Airtable. And finally, you have IU Benda to generate a privacy and terms of conditions section. We now have a stellar landing page, but we still need to get it out there. So my advice is always aim to ship, not just start. Spread the word with family and friends. Post and tweet about it. Run a marketing campaign. Even a simple Facebook campaign would be sufficient. And build a community waiting to use it. I suggest instead of learning different no-code tools and then figuring out how to build the product, to take the opposite approach. First, start with the user problem, then decide what type of value you would like your solution to offer, and work backwards from there to get your custom no-code tool stack. So it's quite clear. I am fascinated about no-code and its ever-ending possibilities. This is why I've recently started a new Substack to write about everything no-code. And I am planning to share practical project examples and the stack to build it. And in general, since I'm following all the latest trends, I would love to share my thoughts on what's worth checking out. So feel free to subscribe, and if you can please reach out on LinkedIn or Twitter if you have any further question. Thank you for listening.
Cool. Thank you, Arthur.
Sure.
Yeah, we will open it up to Q&A for now. So feel free to, if you're in the Zoom, just write in the chat, or if you're joining us from Twitch or YouTube, we have a chat open, so I can just read out your questions as well. We did have one question coming in during the talk. So it was, what is the purpose of copy? I think, yeah, maybe just a little bit on how copy is used and what kind of a difference it could make based on your experience.
So the question is, what is the purpose of copy?
Yeah.
Okay. So the high level answer about copy in general is that it's very important in order to engage your customers. Copy, it's everything we write or put on the landing page. And if you look at the other successful landing pages and companies, they use a very accurate and on point copy or text in order to convert their users. And specifically speaking, Copy AI is a new tool that was launched this year that generates copy for you based on this online description, and it's super powerful. And I think it's also for free for the upcoming week, so you can go ahead and check it out.
Cool, thank you. Okay, we've got a couple more questions in the Zoom chat. Do you have any recommendations for other integrators and automation engines other than Zapier?
Yes, there are different tools. I do think that Zapier is the most straightforward and easy to use. Depending on your use case, you have also products like Paragon and Tray.io, Parabola. Levity is also a new tool that was launched and got funding recently. They automating the process of classification of image and text. So it's really depending on the use case.
And I guess maybe a follow-up to that, how do you keep up with all the new stuff that's coming out? And it's quite a lot to go through.
That's true. First, I have the passion for it. So I read and I follow also on Twitter after other, I would say, leaders within no code, and also try to follow other trends in Product Hunt, which can help as well. They usually launch first there with their early adopters.
Okay, cool. What types of companies have you worked with as a freelance no-code builder, and do you have any recent project examples?
What kind of company? What was the question?
Yeah, what kind of companies have you worked with as a freelance no-code builder or no code PM. Is there anything, that you could cite as a recent example that we could see?
Yeah, I will refrain from mentioning names this talk, but I have worked with mostly early stage companies on the validation side, which is the best fit for no code. I think everything around discovery and user validation, trying to gauge interest from users. You can build some no code, let's say, products, and then take it from there.
Do you have any suggestions for building either a no code or a low code CRM?
Building a no code or a low code CRM. It's a good question. Let me think about it for a moment. So it depends on the user journey of the CRM. You can go with Airtable. Google Sheets might work as well, but if you have Airtable and you can connect it even with Zapier integration, let's say taking all the user feedback you get on Slack potentially, then automate it entire into the into the Airtable form, and then you have this entire CRM built. It's an option, but it really depends on the use case. If the person asking the question can give some context.
With the Adeola, would you like to give a little bit more context, or?
Yeah, can I unmute to speak then?
Yeah, sure.
Cool, yeah, thanks. I'm actually consulting for an ed tech startup. So we're trying to build kind of the lowest cost version of a CRM to capture kind of prospective student information, but then also manage them through the life cycle of using our education. So once they become an actual student, obviously keeping their records in terms of their grades and their performance actually getting through the lessons. So it's a bit complicated, but we're trying not to have to buy Salesforce if possible. So some from the prospecting side. So you'd have typical, again, like email automations that we build in, website activity that we'd want from a nurture standpoint. And then again, once they become a student, how do I track their progress and just nudge them along the way because it's an online ed tech platform.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a great use case. Yeah, sure. The question is, where are they coming from? So what is their journey? How do they get into your funnel?
Yeah, the main sources would be through social, organic and paid would probably be the two main ways that they would engage, and then email. So we're kind of building out a pretty decent email distribution list.
I mean, with regards of inputting of the information, you want to capture, I guess, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, we have a website. So all of all of the transaction, you'd have to apply to be in the program. So that would be through the website where you could actually apply for the program. And
have you used any embedded Typeform version, or you built it yourself?
We've kind of done a Frankenstein approach because it's many steps in the actual application. So the first step is we have Webflow actually as our website. And so we have a form, Webflow, but then we have a Typeform form for some of the application questions. And then we have a Google Doc for like longer form questions that we have in the application that we can then review. So that's the user journey is a little bit broken because there's a lot of emails that they need and links to fill it out.
Yeah. Not to go in too much details because there's other people here. I don't want to bore them, but from a product perspective, I would advise to changing just to a one form capturing option, and then Webflow. I know they have a strong integrations also using with Airtable. So connecting Webflow and Airtable might be sufficient to capture all of this information. And just in Airtable, you arrange it as you see fit, and you can add other layers of logic on top of that. If that did not answer your question, you can also reach out to me later and we can think about it.
Yeah, maybe I'll connect with you because I think also from the integrator standpoint, we're trying to figure out how to do the automation. So how do I nudge people? And that's the part where we're just trying to figure out what the right tools are. But thank you so much. I know I'm stealing too much of your time.
No, it's fine. Sure, we'd love to help.
No, yeah, thank you for the question. Maybe there's also other people out there that are having similar problems, right? So we've got one. What do you think about WordPress for building a landing page?
WordPress. I have to say that I haven't used WordPress. It's a bit more kind of old-fashioned tool. So didn't have much experience with it.
Okay, so definitely not your go-to for building a landing page.
No.
Okay. The next question, I'm not sure, is any recommendations on a successful launch? Okay, do you have any recommendations for a successful launch on Product Hunt?
Is the question is about how to successfully launch on Product Hunt, or a successful product that was launched on Product Hunt?
How to launch?
Maybe, Julia, yeah, you can.
Yeah. So how to launch a product successfully on Product Hunt?
I can share with you an article describing the exact steps of how to make it successful.
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks.
And it is an art. So that's a great question.
Yeah.
Is it better to build a landing page with no code or hire a developer to code a landing page?
I guess that by the name of my talk, I would go with the latter. Sorry for the former. I will go with building it with no code, but it really depends on how robust you need your landing page to be. Most of the time, landing pages are quite straightforward, and there's the tools that are available are enough. Webflow and Bubble are super powerful, so I can't imagine a use case that you cannot build without code.
Yep. Switching over to YouTube for a second, because we had a question there. How much does it cost to use all the tools that you've mentioned? I guess you maybe don't want to go through all of them, but maybe a price range, or highlight one or two of them that you use frequently.
Sure. So gladly for all of us, and for me, most of them are free for most of for our needs, but depends on how much you would like to scale. So with Umzo, of course, WebFrame is just for inspiration, but other colors, Airtable, it really depends on the use case. Most of them offer quite legitimate free versions, but I would say something in the range of a few dozen euros if you really want to go with the premium version. So it can be quite cheap.
Nice. And just wanted to highlight this quite a few YouTube comments thanking you for the talk and saying it's a great talk. So
sure.
And we've got lots of questions, which is also really nice. So let's keep going. What about Unbounce? This one's from Marilla. What about Unbounce / Instapage for a landing page?
Yeah, Unbounce is also solid. I haven't mentioned it. Also, I haven't mentioned it in my LinkedIn series, but it's also very solid. I don't really use it that much. I think that the UX in general is a bit cluttered and not as straightforward. And the second one you've mentioned, what was it?
Instapage?
Instapage? I'm not familiar with Instapage, or I haven't used it myself.
Marilla, you're on mute, I think. Or one second. No.
Similar to Instapage.
We only got the the last two words.
It's similar to Unbounce, Instapage. Also
probably this is why.
Salesforce integrations and a few HubSpots where you can send emails you capture.
Nice. I will check it out. Thanks.
Cool. How about the risks of the used parts being incompatible after some time?
The what parts?
The used parts. I'm not sure if this means parts in.
Yeah, parts of the system.
Maybe, yeah.
let me just add that. So solutions that were presented. When they are when they are becoming obsolete, what happens? How do you migrate? Do you think about it? Because it's different when you've got one system from one producer and you don't need to care about it. And it's the other story when you've got, I don't know, 10 or more different companies that produce that software for you, and what in case that it doesn't synchronize anymore, doesn't work well? What's the cost of it?
Yeah. So first, if you could share a use case that you can think that might break. If you are talking about the straightforward use case of an Airtable or some integration that you have in place that might go obsolete, that potentially might happen. That's why I try to go to these tools, because they're quite strong, very well known, and very stable, but you can use other alternatives. But it's a valid question. If they go obsolete or go bankrupt, potentially your landing page will stop exist. But there are other alternatives that you can just migrate quickly to.
So from your experience, it doesn't happen that often?
Not in my lifetime yet.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think Zapier as well. You have Zapier existing already for 10 years, going strong. So I predict the same for some of these tools.
Yeah, let's hope it stays that way.
Oh.
Just wanted to highlight Sahar's posted a link with tips on Product Hunt launch. So in case anybody's looking for that, I think Julia had mentioned that earlier. We have another question. When we build a landing page, the domain name belongs to us, even if we create it on UMZO or on CMS? Question mark.
I think if you pay for the domain, it's yours. I've used it as well.
Cool.
And by the way, what Sar is share. This is exactly the article that I wanted to share for the one that asked.
Okay. Then perfect. We're all.
The domain question is just a paid feature, just to clarify.
Okay, got it. So we're out of questions, so to speak. If anybody has anything else, feel free to shout. Give it a second. Otherwise, we can move on to a short networking session or a meet and greet, let's say.
Cool. Then give me a second to stop the live stream. Anyone who is currently on YouTube, I'm going to pass the link that you can also join Zoom for networking.